All right, dear community, dear friends on the path, fellow practitioners, people who are here now in the present moment, and also those who may be joining in the past or the future, all beings that are here at this moment, welcome. Today is December 26th, the day after Christmas on the year of 2023, and we are gathered together as a community of practice under the umbrella of Buddhism. Buddhism is simple. Be generous. Be a good person. Stop and look deeply. That is, practice meditation. And through being a good person, through stopping and looking deeply, through our direct experience, we develop insight, we develop wisdom, and we understand as people who are on the spiritual path that we don't walk on this path alone. There are those who have come before us. There are also those who will come after us. So we have a great responsibility to establish ourselves in goodness, in wisdom, in deeper understanding. And we have a great opportunity to take refuge in the meditation masters or wisdom practitioners of the past as well, monks or nuns, people who have just found themselves to be in a place of great freedom and peace. These gatherings are not for the faint of hearted and not for people who are looking for something to believe in or something to consume. This is a place of stopping. This is a place of awareness. We recognize the preciousness of presence, the beating heart, the breath that is breathing, the eyes that are seeing, the ears that are hearing. And this is not a gimmick. This is not to be taken lightly. This is not to think about or understand intellectually. These are doorways for awakening. These are moments of freedom. It can be very difficult to remember the present moment. Or even if we do remember the present moment, we may not recognize its depth. We may not touch its fullness, its richness, its healing power. So we gather together as a community and are inspired to forgive all of our thinking, all of the past, all of the future, all of the people, all of the successes that we've had. We forgive them. All the positive parts of ourselves and the praise that we've experienced and the people that like us and support us, we forgive those people. We forgive those experiences. We forgive all the praise, all the profit forgiven. And in the same way, we forgive the haters. We forgive our failures. We forgive our losses. We forgive our confusions and our defilements. and we dare to penetrate neutrality, to look right at it. For many people, Christmas can be a very difficult time. Some people get drunk on the positivity or the pleasantness or the excitement of Christmas. Some people lose themselves in sorrow or negativity concerned with the Christmas season. But the best that we can do is use Christmas as fuel for the fire of our mindfulness, our present moment breathing, and we can forgive Christmas. We can forgive the holiday season. In our mindful breathing or in our willingness to show up to this moment, and our or us or I showing up to this moment, we're really talking about the body and mind, or name and form. So we have an idea of ourselves, and then there's a body that corresponds to that idea. But we recognize that this body is not my thinking about this body, and also my thinking about this body is not this body, but also they aren't separate, and there's no rejection of the body or rejection of the mind. So that the showing up is our, we dare to be here. We dare to attend. We dare to face. We dare to experience. We dare to stop running around in consumption. We dare to stop being led around by the nose of physical experiences that we have in the body, or mental experiences that come up in our mind, noticing, 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 but not involved, and using the body, using the mind, using our breathing to just be aware and to settle, looking more and more closely. There's this space of giving ourselves permission to not understand this life, and also to not know what's going to happen even a few moments from now, but certainly tomorrow and the next day. And we know that we are concerned with that. We're concerned with tomorrow and the next day and our future and our relationships and profit and loss. We know that there's a grasping, there's an involvement there, there's a concern there, right? And yet we don't know. So there's a release, there's a freedom, there's a recognition of our true nature, which doesn't know the future and may not be as stuck or reliant upon the body and the mind as we imagine it to be. That means that in our mindfulness we can detach from our self, We can detach, we can abandon our grasping onto physical experiences or this physical experience and mental experiences or this mental experience. With our mindful breathing, we bring a quality of brightness, of presence, of attending to, of opening, of widening out. And we really see, we check in, what is this experience? This, our community, me as a facilitator, Bhante, uh, is just a form for us to look at our own mind, experience directly. What is this? And in this spaciousness of the great question, the great wonder, the great curiosity, the great presence of our mindfulness, there's a lot more room to kind of consider and look, well, what mental actions am I going to take? What physical actions am I going to take? What verbal actions am I going to take? What am I going to do more of? What am I going to do less of? What's that feeling there that I can react to very strongly, but don't need to react to? What is that? And how will I attend to that feeling of fear or worry or concern? Do I need to be afraid of myself? Do I need to be afraid of my heart and my body and my mind? Or is this responsibility, this awareness, this attention an opportunity to free, to forgive, and just to hold, to enjoy my mindfulness, to enjoy this great present of presence that is not fixated or stuck on me or you, not about this place or that time, that experience. It's just presence, this overflowing, right? This shining out, brightening out presence. This breathing and heart that's beating and body that's being, and this mind that has so much spaciousness, so much openness, accessible and available. Those aspects of our identity or our social situation or our monetary situation or our mental situation, do we really need to drag it around with us all the time? Is that really where our life is? Do we need to carry around this anchor or this weight of worry, of dread, of complicatedness, of a puzzle that we can't quite solve? Or is it more important to put it down? And can we find our freedom and our true self in that putting it down, in that walking out, in that widening out of our mind and our heart? And what does it feel like? What is your true presence when those things, when you dare to put them down? Those people, those places, those involvements, those positive point, those negative point. And it doesn't mean that the body feels a certain way. It doesn't mean that the mind goes in a certain direction. It's just that daring, that willingness to, oh, there that is again. How is it when I put it down? How fully, how richly, how completely that putting down can be. And what is the necessity? What is the driving force for me to pick that back up or involve with that again? Maybe it's not that this thing won't be a certain way, or that I don't like this, or that I do like that, or that this person will do this or that. Maybe there's no rejecting necessary, no controlling necessary, no getting rid of necessary. But perhaps we haven't nourished our presence. We haven't nourished our freedom. We haven't nourished our mindfulness enough to see clearly what our real capacity is: to heal, to forgive, to free, to put down, to finish, to end, to resolve, to love, to begin again. That maybe this great New Year's resolution isn't about doing something in particular or changing some part of ourselves in particular, but it's stopping all that commotion or putting down that whole bag of tricks that we like to play on ourselves and others, concerned with doing something, going somewhere, changing something, better or worse. But just turning around and seeing ourselves for the first time. All that freedom, all that joy, all that peace, all that love that is so accessible, so near that we couldn't even avoid it. We couldn't avoid our freedom. We couldn't avoid our clarity. We couldn't avoid our safety. That it is not in any way intellectual, so that the intellectual, the thinking is irrelevant completely, whether it comes up or not, or what the content of it is, it's just irrelevant. And that in the awareness itself, the breathing itself, all of that work can be done. All of that kindfulness can fill the body, can fill the mind, can fill the heart, that it's so possible for us to offer that capacity we have for kind presence, forgivefulness, to everything. And that there are no constraints on that. There are no boundaries in that. Just stay with the breathing to keep that freshness of kindness and forgiveness, the freshness of clarity to nourish itself. Not much effort is needed, but the intention, the coming back. And then that coming back, that connecting with the mindfulness, the present moment breathing, not as an exercise, as a like a work that we have to do, but nourishing in and of itself. The heart, the mind, the body, the lungs, everything, the whole world breathing. So there is the wonderful nourishment, the enjoyment of breathing with mindfulness. Also, the sense of curiosity or interest in the breathing as a like a point of preciousness or a point of value. And then there's also the recognition or the insight into the reality of breathing, the reality of mindfulness. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. Breathing in, just breathing in. Breathing out, just breathing out. And that in that, and in the absorption into that, the real deep connection into that, there's no fogginess or haziness or dullness, but there's a richness of recognition. And that recognition is beyond, more expansive than the body and the mind, but inclusive of the body and the mind. And in this recognition, we begin to touch the insight of no separation. We begin to not just practice mindfulness, but mindfulness and detachment. Mindful breathing that is not someone, not some place, not some particular time, but mindfulness only, breathing only, experiencing only. We don't need to be enlightened. We don't need to be a teacher or a student. The reality is that we do not need to go anywhere or do anything. Just see your beautiful present moment breathing exactly as it is right here and right now. and allow that wonderful present moment breathing to be a place of refuge. When mental phenomena become difficult, when physical phenomena or tension, pain becomes difficult or uninteresting, take the breathing as a medicine and as a refuge. Breathing in, I come home to my true nature. Breathing out, I forgive myself. Breathing in, I come home to my true nature. Breathing out, I forgive those who I have come across. Breathing in, recognition. Breathing out, forgiveness. Breathing in, true self. Breathing out, forgiveness. So let's take a moment and we'll listen to 3 sounds of the bell. And we'll open up the space for sharing, asking questions, practicing, continuing to practice together. Okay? Okay. Merry Christmas. Happy present moment, everyone. Thank you all for sharing the gift and receiving the gift of the uh, present of presence, offering our mindfulness to our own heart, body, and mind, sharing that with the community, even if it's just for a moment, it can be really powerful. Also, thank you to the donor and the supporter that send me some offering this Christmas time. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for supporting me. And yeah, I guess this is our Christmas, New Year's gathering. And as I mentioned last time we were together, I will go on a digital detox starting tomorrow. I think I need to take care of a few things before I'm completely offline during the day tomorrow, and then I'll be offline for 2 weeks, um, and then come back. And yeah, so we can just have a gathering to connect, share our experiences, ask any questions, maybe talk about some experience that we had during Christmas and during this season. You know, this, like I've said before, this is also a time when we can practice generosity to share our experience, our insight, our difficulties with the group, and it can help a lot more than we know. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, friends, and I'll open up the space for everyone to share. Nino?
Hello, dear Sangha. Um, I wanted to share my Christmas family gathering. Um, my family is always a bit passionate, and Bhante put it very beautifully at the beginning of today's gathering, where it's like they're caught up in drinking and joy and talking over each other. Nobody's listening, and me being a little bit more mindful going into this family moment made it actually quite hard because I felt a bit isolated from my family. We also had a sharing of presents in the presence of children. My niece and nephew were overly joyed and overwhelmed with all the presents and excitement, which also influenced my family. You know. But it was also quite beautiful, mm, just to be with each other again, sharing this bond, this connection we have with each other. I was just happy to be there, although a bit tired after. Um, thank you.
Here at the temple, we had a really wonderful gathering with there are two different areas here. One is the area where the monks live, the male monastics live, and then another area where the female monastics live. And we gathered together at the tea house for Secret Santa gift exchange, and then also singing songs together and just experiencing that siblinghood. And it was really nourishing, really beautiful. Had a fire, and some of the younger monastic, they did the skit. So we had like a Christmas Santa Claus skit, and then also one with the Grinch. They kind of played out the Grinch poem or story, and the mask was horrifying. It was like a Halloween mask. It was really scary, and that went until about 10. And then me and a few of the other brothers just came and kind of had a jam session here in the we call it the cappuccino room, um, just singing some songs and playing around, having fun until quite late. So it was very nourishing uh, experience. Yeah, very joyful. And I know that when I have those kind of nourishing experiences or like heart experiences, I've got to be really careful how to manage that energy, because it can sometimes um, it triggers something deeper in me that I haven't fully worked with. Some childhood trauma or coping, right, for something inside myself. So I know when I have really meaningful experiences that the next day I need to be all the more mindful and kind of go slowly, be careful. And especially not like try to force myself to sleep or to rest, but kind of I've got to be watchful. I've got to attend myself after I have some meaningful experience. And with mindfulness or with the practice, then generally difficult experiences and generally like lovely experiences can both be meaningful, both be useful. So I watch out for that, those rich experiences, because I know it can be triggering, bring up that extra energy, and I need to use that in the proper way. I need to take care of that. How about Kara? You want to share about your Merry Christmas? Should be a microphone. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure the sound is okay here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I am in the kitchen. It's not much space here, so I cannot really move around. And it's a seaside place. I drove here for the New Year and Christmas. My sister stays here with her children. Um, it's the mm, it's it's a place we're supposed to be for the seaside and nice time on the weekends. But I had to give this apartment to my sister because she had to run away from war a year ago, like more than a year ago. So I'm a guest now here. And Christmas had been hard because it's a time for the family to be sort of happy, but it's very difficult to find gratitude. And Christmas, in a way, shows us that we should be grateful. But when you don't find that feeling it's especially on the nose in a way. So I decided to spend Christmas just working as much as possible. I think I do something wrong. That's my experience.
Okay, thank you, Kara. I think if we have a good intention, a clear intention for the direction we're going, and if we have an example to aspire to or an understanding of like being more grateful, being more peaceful, being more free, more joyful, then we will figure it out. You know, it's like if you want to tighten a screw. If you know that you want to tighten the screw, the wrong way is also the right way because it leads you to the right way, right? Oh, this is loosening, so I just have to turn it the other way. So as long as we have that direction, then our mistakes, our failures are really clear reminders like, oh, I could work on this. I could do this less, or I could try a new approach to see if that works better. Yeah, when you want to tighten the nut, loosening it is very informative, and vice versa. And maybe it's not that we want to become more peaceful, but deepening our relationship with peace, because peace is there, right? Not that we want to become more free, but deepening our relationship with freedom, because freedom is there. Freedom is here. And focusing on that rather than, I don't know, some kind of thing or person or experience to grasp onto, just free. Just that which cannot be grasped onto.
I think I could share something, Bhante. I'm very grateful because 2 weeks ago we thought my mom was leaving for the other world, and because she was very, very sick suddenly, and she was calling me and telling me, Sonia, I'm leaving, I'm feeling I'm leaving. And she said that for many days. I try not to panic, and I try to just stay with her and talk to her. And then we discovered that she had an infection, and for 5 days she was better, but she's 92. So at 92, each event of health could make people go away. And so I was so grateful because I could saw her to the dinner of Christmas with my nephew and my sister and her, and I was taking every moment like something very special, and it was very special, and usually it's not so beautiful, because there's a lots of tension in our family, lots of tension, like maybe everyone, but this time it was very, very peaceful and everybody was happy. And so that was a very good moment. And I was happy to be able to stay a little bit longer with her and to learn from this moment. And it's not easy because it could happen anytime, but I'm trying to be just courageous in this. Thank you.
We have one question on YouTube from Sanjay Kumar, who's saying, what are the rules for adopting Buddhism? It's just to practice it and make use of the teachings. And if you're doing that, then you can say you're a Buddhist. You can say you're adopting Buddhism into your life. But it's really, we don't take ourselves to be so important anymore. Our ego identity, our past experiences, our desires, our fears, our trauma, we don't take refuge in those anymore. Or we incorporate in our life to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha as fully as we can, as completely as we can. And that's the power of Buddhism. That's where you're going to get the most benefit in it. And if you want to be very successful, then take a deeper, more practical, continuous refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So that can be listening to Dhamma talks, it can be joining community meditation sessions like this, it can be trusting in mindfulness rather than thinking. And if you practice that, then you're adopting or adapting Buddhism. Yeah, Sonia, my experience last night was also a little bit similar to that, with just this feeling of nourishment and feeling of wonderfulness. And I thought in my practice how I can take that. It's like a recognition of how the richness of the experience, and then it's just allowing that to nourish me, and just the joy of being in that, right? And that I don't need to change that. I'm just looking more and more deeply, and opening myself to that experience. And my insight is that I can also apply that to neutral experiences. I can also apply that to even difficult experiences, not just taking it at the surface level and then kind of going into reactivity or thinking, but how that recognition of the moment, sometimes it's very wonderful, sometimes it's very difficult, but that recognition of the moment gives me this interest point, this opening exploration point to the depth of that experience. So I don't just take it on the surface level, but I'm nourished by that waking up, right? That wakefulness that goes along with seeing it as it is in that moment. Okay, friends, we are just about at the 1 hour mark. Would anyone else like to share or ask a question?
I have a question or a thought, Bhante.
Yeah.
Um, I think so. Like, I have two sons that are older, and I had told them earlier that Christmas was going to be fairly low key, just because the wars and everything else that are going on. Even though they've been going on forever, but particularly, and then they agreed, and we talked about it. And then I think I heard Cara say that her sister was fleeing from a war. And so, and if that's incorrect, forgive me, but how are we supposed to, like here in the United States, where we're pretty much shielded from that, yet I think we're pretty involved. What's our responsibilities around that?
Yeah, I think
Do we affect our nation's karma?
right. Uh, well, firstly, we don't appropriate the suffering of anyone else or any other place or any other experience, right? So we are not at war. We are not experiencing that, right? We're not in that situation. So um, recognizing that, finding what is your war, what is your situation, where are you actually at, what are you working on, and the more you take responsibility for that and are willing to work with that, Christmas becomes a time or an event or an excuse to nourish the positive seeds or practices in the context of your war, right? And that's the place of practice. That's the place of engagement. It's not it's not that we don't uh, appreciate or understand that there are wars and great sufferings in the world, but kind of be inspired by that and encouraged by that to go to your depth, the depth to which you can go, which is not, uh, like the American world police, right? Where we say, oh, we're America, so we need to intervene in this war to stop this thing on a governmental level. But we can be like that in our mind, and then it keeps us from engaging with the depth of our own situation, where there is a lot of vulnerability, right? There is a lot of mud. There is a lot of suffering there. And so the Christmas time is when we can come together, and in the midst of that mud, right, in the midst of that depth, we plant seeds of joy and gratefulness and community and love, right, and offer that space to ourselves to play, right, and to be gentle and be open. But we may have to transition from the commercial way of doing that, which is more about buying things or consuming things or like disassociating from our life. Whereas the holiday season, right, it can become this time when we really step into our life, right? And Sonia was talking about how she practicing to really be there. She didn't want to change anything. She was really being there with them, and also how Nino said that it was difficult to be there because he was more mindful, but through that he was really attending to it, right? He was really going to his depths, um, and my experience here at the temple with, the siblinghood and the nourishment and the joy there. It's not that there aren't difficulties in me. There's not fear in me, that there's not like ego in me that says, well, oh, I'm a guest monk here and I'm not fully a part of that group. But it's that I just come back to that peace, that warmth of the fire, that warmth of mindfulness, that warmth of authenticity that may be expressed by my generosity to someone or buying them a gift. But actually, it's more in my presence, right? It's more in my really fully being there. and maybe not drinking or not just having the TV on the whole time, right? But by being there with the mud of it, um, or the joy of it, and giving myself that permission to end the war, right? Stop the war. And then that we offer that out in all kinds of different subtle ways towards ourselves. We know we have that capacity to experience joy and connection and safety, even though there's a war outside, even though there's some suffering inside of ourselves, so that the next day, hopefully our sangha isn't full of people who are hungover, right, and just kind of recovering from that headache, but not just not doing that on Christmas or the holiday, um, but coming back to that ability to nourish yourself even though it's not Christmas, right? Now it's the next day, and still that presence, you tune it right in. You come back to it. And then when these excuses come up for Christmas or New Year's or whatever it is, that's your time to um, bring other people into the practice, but with the heart, with your presence. Um, use the Christmas spirit, or use the Hanukkah spirit, or whatever it might be for you, to practice more deeply, and then to share that practice with others. Okay. Yeah, like I know that there is people that I love that I can't fully protect, and people that I don't know that are in dire straits. And I'm certainly not in that situation, right? I have a great capacity to take care and to protect my mind right now. I don't let that defeat me or discourage me. I really, it's like that difficulty is not personal. That war is not personal. And then I have um, the bravery to step into the deeper war, or the more subtle suffering that's in myself, and kind of know that, wow, just because I think like this or I think like that, I don't need to be controlled by the fear that goes along with that. It's not just mine. It's not mine. But when the chance comes up, then that's what I share with with my sangha, with my community here, with my nephew. Um, and over time, maybe we can share that with more people in more ways, or people who are more difficult or more draining, or we have some kind of karma with them that makes it difficult at that particular time. But right now, we feed our heart and our mind, and then when the conditions come together, we'll be ready to really offer out that rainbow of our spiritual practice, our spiritual life. Okay. So I think we'll leave it here for today, and we'll just finish with offering of our merit. All right. And I invite everyone to unmute their microphones and can repeat after me. May all the good deeds and the effects of those good deeds that we have done until now
May all the good
good
deeds and the
deeds and the
effects of those good
effect of
deeds
those good
that
deeds
we have done
that
till
we have
now
done till now
be
Now,
offered and shared out towards all beings,
be offered
be
be
offered
offered
be
and
and
shared
offered
out
shared
and
towards
out
all
shared
beings,
out
toward all beings,
towards all beings,
especially to those in war,
especially to those in
especially to
war,
those in
especially
war,
to those in war,
especially to those that we may have difficulty with,
especially to those that we may have
Especially
difficulty
those
with,
who may have
who we
difficulty with.
may have difficulties with,
especially to all of our loved ones.
especially to all of our
Especially
loved
to all of
ones.
our
especially to
loved
all our
ones.
loved ones.
May this practice, whatever it is, bring true benefit to this heart and mind.
May this
May
practice,
this
whatever it
practice,
is,
May this
whatever it
bring
practice
is,
true
bring
benefit to our
benefit
heart
to
and
true
this
mind.
heart
benefit
and mind.
to our heart.
May this practice of mindful breathing bring light and peace to all beings.
May this
May
practice
this
of mindful
practice of
breathing
mindful
bring
breathing
love
bring benefit to all
and
beings.
benefit to all beings.
Light and
May all beings rejoice and share in this practice.
May all beings
May
rejoice
all
and
beings
share in this
rejoice
practice.
and share
may
in
all
this
beings
practice.
share and rejoice in this practice.
May it be,
May it be,
May it be,
may it be,
Maybe.
may it
may
be,
it be,
may it
Maybe.
truly be.
may it truly be.
may it truly be.
May it truly be.
And let's finish with 3 ho ho ho's and a Merry Christmas. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas.
Oh.
Okay.
Ho, ho.
Merry
Okay.
Christmas.
Merry
Uh,
Christmas.
Thank you, dear Sangha. See you in about 2 weeks. And if you feel the need to send me an email or reach out to me, just contact me at bhantevp@gmail.com. Okay. Thank you all so much. See you soon.
Thank you, Bhante. Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Bhante. Thank you, Sangha.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Bruno.